Hello. It is, of course, Worldbuilding Wednesday, the day of building of worlds. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. As always, I'm your host, Lord Casimir Basilius of the Empire. And, as always, we'll be working on Galactic Requiem. We will continue our work on Sector East 40. Hopefully we'll make a lot of progress today. While doing things ever so slightly differently. Not that it makes much of a difference. The only difference is I've pre-prepared my coffee. Yes. Which means I'll be having my coffee earlier. But, you know. So. Oh, we also started, 10 minutes earlier? Not much of a difference. But, you know. Okay. So, without more rambling, last time we were working on the nation cluster up here. But we have, well, a lot to work on. I suppose we'll start with some boring things. I say, sort of, like we're going to place a few things on the map. And by things, I mean locations of systems. My words were failing me there for a second. 6. Okay, we have a small subsector. Words. Small subsector. Assuming I can properly speak and convey information in a manner that is befitting of an Imperial Lord. Let's quickly open our data sheet. Scroll to the bottom where we've stored information. And we're going to throw that in there. Of course, we're going to have to do this bit annoyingly, in a way that I do not find ideal. But it is, strangely enough, the easiest way to do this. There we are. Okay. I just needed to make sure that both screens were visible at the same time, which makes it, I say screens there, well, words are hard. I am unable to use them. It is insane. Okay. One, 12, 15, 14, 13, 12. There we are. Nope. Wrong layer. There we go. 7, 13. Yes. 10, 9. 11, 7. I hope that one's right. Yeah, well, 11, 7. Perfect. 12, 1. And 13, 9. These are the numbers of the day. I hope you will find them useful. This is definitely not a numbers station broadcast. There we go. We'll do another because I sort of want to get this bit set. And definitely not to convey more information. Definitely not. 8. Yes. It's some form of code. Oh, I've made a mistake. Never mix up your codes. I've almost made boo. Luckily I caught that. Luckily I caught that. You could have made a huge mistake there. That would have not been ideal. Okay. We've solved the problem. The right information will go to the right people. 2, 7. 4, 3. 6, 4. 7, 15. 9, 15. 10, 1. 11, 3. Bingo. 11, 10. That one, I'm not too sure about. 11, 10. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now, I know what I want to do with this. Get properties. Select here. Unsnap. Perfect. So, you know how I said I want it to be a long way to get over to here? I have a plan. As we are supposed to draw, are FTL lanes. And that's what we'll do right here, real fast. No, that works. In fact, I'm going to have to go one more over before it connects. But then what am I going to do with these? I suppose that's an important question. These could not be connected to here. Not sure how I want to handle those three, I'll be honest. We'll generate one more. Okay, we need a number. 8 again. Okay. Your next set of numbers shall be 1, 9. 2, 6. 3, 2. 3, 9. 11, 6. 11, 10. 11, 13. 14, 6. There we go. Not ideal. We'll work with it. We have to work with this. So, let's see what we can do. Ooh. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous, given the way FTL lanes work, but sure. Technically, it's allowed. There. We have the area around that it's basically connecting each side to. Basically, we'll have this connect down here to a bunch of stuff over here and all that, nations and the like. And same over here, basically. But if you want to go across, basically, you're going to have to go through this system to basically get over to here. Otherwise, you're basically going to have to travel all the way around, which is 58 from there. I mean, assuming we can actually exit around here, it's going to be a lot faster. Which is why we're going to put important nations over here, up here, and over here. This will be a sort of space that they have to pass through. That's the plan, anyway. So, what information do we have on these systems? Nope. Wrong selection. We can make it a lot easier. Good, we have information on a bunch of these, which is good. One moment, my apologies. I will be right back. Hopefully, I didn't break anything there. Accidentally hit a button. Well, pulled a wire more than hit a button. Anyway, hopefully it didn't break. We return. Hopefully, it's all still working. I'm wholly uncertain. Anyway. Let us get back to it. Okay. So, here we have our systems that we've prepared. Sort of. I say prepared as we've worked a little bit on. This is going to be a relatively important nation, I suppose. Ooh, I know what we can do. This will get our work going. We're going to start placing some of those dangerous systems along the travel line that we are, well, intending to use. So, let us open our book. I say book, I mean the file. To find those systems that I'm talking about. Because we already generated them. Like I said, I use the ones that I skipped. I basically just saved them. So, here we are. S-class Magnetar M-class. Magnetar M-class. M-class Pulsar D-class F-class. Pulsar T-class. Okay. Now let's see. We didn't use the most up-to-date version. Did I upload the most up-to-date version. No, I did not. Map. Import. Map. Hope that things don't explode while I try and import a map. Oh, there we are. Blank system map. Open. Reset fog. No. We're here for one thing. The stars. We'll take all of the stars. We don't need the planets. Just want the stars. Okay. So let's go back over to East 40. There we are. East 40. Go back to our hidden layer. Suppose we should make this bit visible, I guess. Place that ever so slightly updated. Set with information. So now we need to decide. The thing we need to decide, really, comes down to the sheet. So, as you can see, these are multiple systems. Personally, when I place multiple systems, we have toyed around with an idea of multiple system tokens somehow, but never really came to a decision on it. But in short, often for the longest of time, I've picked a random, I say random, whichever one I've preferred to be more accurate or important, star to represent it on the map. In this case, for the first one, our options are S-class, magnetar, and M-class. We're not going to place an M-class. We're just not. So, our choices are S-class, or I mean, they're all in the system. I mean, the token used to represent it. So, use S or magnetar. We're going to have another magnetar, so we might as well use an S, I suppose. Sure, that works. Now, where do we want it? This is supposed to be the travel lane that is not ideal. Where we want them all. I think the reason the FTL lanes over here come to ends is because of these stars. I'm popping this open so I can interact. Copy that. And then place it in the token. Change to object. There we are. Although I think it might be more ideal to actually use the magnetar token given the importance of the fact that it's a magnetar. Choices. Choices. Oh, yeah, our next one's another magnetar, so. This one, put right here. No, that'll be the black hole. Magnetar will be right next to it. We've chosen violence. Okay. This bit's gonna be a little slow. Copy. Paste. Change to object. Okay. What's next on our list? Well, assuming I actually open the list, we'll find out. Pulsar. Two pulsars. I thought we had a black hole. Unfortunate. I suppose we can always make a black hole. Nobody can stop us. We're the lead designer. Nobody can stop us from placing a black hole there. And that's what we're going to do. And there. We'll figure the rest of the black hole out later. So we need 2 pulsars. I think one will be there. Sure. Sure. So let's grab the pulsar. Yes. Oh, I grabbed the data, not the token. Hidden pulsar. Move that over to here. Paste the data in, change it to an object. There. And there's another pulsar. This one will be on this side. In fact, it'll be right next to the magnetar. Why not? We are really going wild with these locations. I mean, imagine having to travel through this line. Pulsar, magnetar, black hole. One little respite until we figure out what that is. Pulsar. Not ideal. Basically making it a stellar graveyard, really. It's a bit of a stellar graveyard. Chaining together FTL jumps through, well, not the most ideal of locations. And it'd be real easy to connect these to there, but we're not going to. Actually, that might be neat. Now I'm questioning whether that's what I want. That would be real neat, though. I really, really like the idea of there being a second entrance. So theoretically, you could go up through there, but this will still be dangerous. Kind of like that. I'm not going to connect it to there, though. That would be too much for what I'm thinking should be done. I suppose I have to make that just absolutely some reason why things aren't going that way. Something like that. We'll figure it all out. Just drinking some coffee. So, where were we? I'm glad I made the coffee early. I mean, I may be an augmented, basically, Imperial Lord, but All the meetings and lack of rest are really getting to me. So, where were we? So we have a bunch of systems up north that are sort of blocking travel, making it rather difficult. Well, sort of. It's not ideal. It's dangerous. It's not like they're blocking travel, it's just dangerous. We could add more, but I mean, how many stellar remnants are we allowed to put up there? How many stellar remnants can we get away with, you know? An amount, probably. An amount. You know what? Let's get another system. I want another system. Sure, we'll store it. It's not a system. I. Mm, yeah, it's a system. It's a system. We'll just put it that way. It's definitely not saying that because of my hatred of M-class stars. Definitely not. But Basil, you like space. How could you hate M-class stars? Because they're so common. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Can't walk 2 feet without seeing an M-class star. Telling you. Change to object. I keep forgetting to make sure that they're objects. Good. It does look like they're all objects. Very good. Very good. Hmm. Up here. Up here. We're going to generate one more subsector. Okay. Just doing the last little bit of subsector generation. Paste. Move this over to here. Switch into work mode. And work. Okay. Get properties. We'll build more directly in a second. Gotta get the locations down, of course. 114, 311, 41, 510, 61, 613, 89, 812, 12.7, nope, 7, yep, 12, yep, 12.7, 13.1. Sure, that'll do. Get properties, draw a line. There we go. Oh, there's more up here, isn't there? Can't forget about that. Those will probably connect to each other and up there, so they won't actually connect to here. Probably. Might change my mind on that later. But here we basically have a, this is where we're going to put the Terran nation that Juliana Aldis is a part of. Somewhere up here. Or maybe a bit higher. Not sure. Not sure entirely yet. But given that they have an, it might be over here. Oh, even just over here. I always viewed them as north, you know? At least, like, it's not really ever been mentioned, I don't think. I know that they're to the right. Well, I don't think that's even been mentioned either. I I've just always worked under the assumption that they were to the no. Oh, where's my little pointer? There we are. I've always worked under the assumption that the nation Yelena all this is a part of is to the east, in a sense, of here, and to the north. I've always just operated under that assumption. That's just what it that's where it is. You know? I can't really explain it. That's where it is. It's to the east and north. Why? Hmm, It's just this. I can't really explain the logic behind that. That's just how I feel it is. And so, given that it's to the right and up, that limits us to, given that we can't place it here, it has to be here, 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 maybe even higher. But I just simply know this direction. That's all I know. Okay. I see where all the connections are right now, by the way. I know that something connects to him. Oh, in fact, let's go a step further. One second while I find the little thing I use to represent. That goes over there. It moves with a connection. I know that much. This over here goes somewhere. This goes somewhere. This goes somewhere. This goes somewhere. This one. Obviously, if you couldn't tell. It's probably more, but those are the ones I know, feel, want to connect somewhere. Those are the ones that do. This is sort of a pre full map phase I do. I will often put little markers that are like, I don't have the rest of the map yet, but I have a very strong feeling and want that these things should connect to the other areas, you know? And so, of course, once the map actually gets more set, these little markers, they disappear. I say disappear, but they do. I remove them because lanes get built out as the actual sector gets built out. And eventually, these simply end up on the edge of the map or near the edge of the map, basically pointing out where the things at the edge of the sector connect to, well, other sectors, you know? So that's that, because of course you travel from sector to sector and the like. Yes. One second. So yeah, that's how those markers work for the most part. Recently, I've decided. No, there's a reason for that. Okay, yeah. I was about to say, I've decided that I want to make sure that I had options for larger and smaller scale stars. But then I remembered, I thought for a split second, I don't really have a way to generate bigger and smaller stars. And then I remembered, I do, in fact, have a way to generate bigger and smaller stars. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know I do, and I'm 99% sure it's in our random program generator. I'm 100% sure it's in our random sheet generator. I can even find it right here. Subdwarf, subgiant, giant, bright giant, hypergiant, supergiant. Well, supergiant and hypergiant. So it's actively right there. I just don't entire. Oh yeah, and dwarf stars, but that's specifically L, T, Y, and DB. White dwarf, well, it is. Well, if you want to be technical, DB and white dwarf, well, DB being dwarf black, black dwarf and white dwarf are technically the same. One has slightly less energy, and the other doesn't. So it's quite well. Oop, accidentally broke something there. Not ideal. Goal's not to break things. Where was I? Ah, yes. White dwarfs and black dwarfs. They're technically not dwarf stars, even though they're called white dwarf and black dwarf. Dwarf stars generally represents, well, things like your sun, if I remember, is a dwarf star. Main sequence stars for the most part. I mean, not every. I think every main sequence star is a dwarf star for the most part. Pretty sure. It's been years, years and years. But a white dwarf and a black dwarf technically aren't even stars. They're stellar remnants. So why is black dwarf under the dwarf stars, well, star size option? Well, where is it under? There we are. Yeah, why is it under dwarf if black dwarf isn't even a dwarf star? Statistics, I suppose. Really, don't ask. Theoretically, it should be under stellar remnants, but if it was under stellar remnants, I'd have to turn 1d4 to 1d5, and I suppose you could roll the d10 and divide by 2. While with dwarf stars, it it you roll a d8, and on 7 or 8, the black dwarf. On 1 to 2, it's an L class, which is not even. I mean, technically, it's, I guess, a dwarf star, but they're exceptionally small stars. Like, if you've heard of a red dwarf, which is a star. So, look, I can't explain the logic behind it, but it works for generating star systems. That's all that's important. It works for generating star systems. The entire point of this is, I'm not sure if the generator. I know that the text one, but I'm not sure if the program one has subdwarf, subgiant, giant, bright giant, hypergiant, and supergiant, etc. But it should. I think it does. Haven't seen it. It is statistically a low chance. As I was explaining to somebody earlier, technically, the way the generator works, it is possible to roll a system with nothing in it at all whatsoever. I haven't seen it happen yet, but it's possible. Now, when I say nothing in it, I mean no star and no planets. It's just statistically a small chance. The more one uses the generator, the more likely it is to eventually occur. But like the generator is weighted. So it's not like pure random chance. There's weights to it, which is why M class stars are so common in generation, which is why I hate M class stars. But in short, technically speaking, could just be rare. Could just be rare. Or maybe it's not programmed in. Not sure. I didn't personally program it. I just gave the details to the programmer. And they did all the fancy, nice work on the program. Anyway. So. Let's get back to work. Now that we've rambled a bit. I love astronomy. Okay. It's probably going to be a connection over here. Probably. In fact, that's exceptionally likely. So let's preempt that. Like so. I like the somewhat lack of connections up here, around here. I mean, there's a few, but it's very much transit lanes, if anything. I mean, yeah, of course people live in the systems, but it feels very much like transit. Like these lanes were not built to make an empire. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. So FTL lanes in Galactic Requiem are generated. I say generated, I don't mean randomly generate. Well, they're not, I place them, but when I say they're generated, I specifically mean like lore-wise, people make the lanes. You know what I mean? People are actively constructing the lanes. Well, nations with lots of money and expendable resources construct the lanes. So a heavily populated, connected empire will have a bunch of connected lanes, connecting their systems together for trade and all that. While a something like this feels more like transit because they're not all interconnected like a web. Now, it'd be very possible to connect like all this stuff together to make a more actual web-like structure where everything's connected in a sort of everything's connected. But this one isn't that way. It's more transitory. You're heading from point A to point B through this area. There's no major nation here. I mean, there could be a super large nation. This could be a part of it. I mean, it's not. It's the Terran nations. So, you know. Anyway, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. And if not, well, there's nothing I can do about that. Except theoretically explain better, but I'm not going to. So, yes. Um, so we have a bit of a way across. We have our importance. I say important, it's not important. It's not an imperial world. But I have a. Let's. Mm, sure. Sure. Yeah, we are. Hmm. You know. No, that's a ridiculous statement. I was about to say something silly. Sure. Okay. I'll I'll let you in on a secret. This may sound like a ridiculous statement, but as an Imperial Lord, well, it's still a ridiculous statement. I was thinking to myself, I was looking at my little sheet for my 3-star systems, and I thought, you know, I kind of want, not need, want more uh, objects in my star system, planets. Want more planets. I mean, I could just build a Dyson swarm, so that's dumb. I could build a ring world, so that's dumb. I could build any variety of megastructures. So wanting more planets is dumb when we can build megastructures, you know? Dyson swarms are better. Now, but what I thought was I could steal of some planets. I mean, yeah, like technically I can steal planets, like, you know, from a, is it physically possible? Yeah, gravity. Surprisingly easy. Well, if you have mega engineering, it's surprisingly easy. All I need to do really is, well, build a, what is it called? Shikata thruster? Around using a Dyson swarm around another star and move that star into my system. Carefully, of course. It should drag all the planets along with it. Take those planets, alter their orbit with high gravity maneuvering, high gravity objects, and so forth. Steal the star's planets, and then remove the star back to wherever, or fling it into deep space. Who knows? I don't want the star. Well, I could stockpile the star for star lifting at that point. Just use it as a spare resource. That'd be an option. I mean, it would already be covered with, well, what's basically a Dyson swarm to move it. And then I could just use that, which is existing infrastructure, to basically star lift the star. So I could steal stars and planets. Now, why that's impractical? Well, we'd have to build a Dyson swarm first, which takes a lot of resources. I don't even have one Dyson swarm, let alone enough to make a spare Dyson swarm in somebody else's star system. Second, time. Now, well, moving a star is a slow process, a very slow process. It takes time, lots of time, millions of years of time. Now, if you're wondering, hey, FTL exists, why don't you just FTL the star? I don't have that kind of resources. Yes, I mean, even Imperial Lord does not have the kind of resources to equip planets and stars with FTL. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. No, no, no. That's that the amount of money, the amount of economy it would take to move a planet, let alone a star, using FTL is just not, no, no. Then why don't you just do a planetary thruster? Because you get the same problem with the star, and once you're in deep space, it's going to cool. You have to go artificial heating for the planet, and lots of other things to get the light, and you need fake lights and artificial sun, and then you're still going to have to spend forever to move it, right? You're just still going to have to spend forever to move the planet. Well, why don't you just FTL the planet? Because it's the same problem as FTLing a star. I mean, yes, it's a bit less of a problem, but still, the ridiculous cost of moving a planet in FTL, like you don't understand. You can't just put a planet in FTL. So FTL is dangerous. It needs shielding. You need FTL shielding, and so you can't put that I mean, you can put it all the way around a planet, but it's not feasible. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it feasible? No, it's not feasible. The entire plan to steal planets is not feasible. Not for me, at least. But these are the things I deal with on a daily basis. My government comes to me like, hey, we have a plan. You said you want more systems, right? You want more systems. Why don't we just bring the systems to us? Why don't we just bring the systems to, and they come up with these ridiculous plans that just don't pan out and don't work, and I'm paying them to sit there and come up with these ridiculous ideas. You know? It's honestly, it would be cheaper. It would be cheaper to buy a star system from my own neighbor, my imperial neighbor, imperial lord borders me. Be cheaper to buy a star system from them, like. And then was the prestige. I mean, yeah, technically, buying a star system. Yeah, congrats, you technically qualify for lordhood. But where's the I'm a combat lord. I engage in combat. I earned my title. You know? Like, there's no. What they say? What would other Imperial Lords say? Oh, Lord Basil. She bought a star system. I mean, yes, they'd probably say that's rather wealthy, to be able to buy a star system from another Imperial Lord. You know? Like, yeah, there's some prestige in the wealth involved in that. It's not like another Imperial Lord is going to charge a cheap price for a star system. It's going to be expensive as hell. I don't even think I can afford buying a star system, but, be cheaper than stealing a star from, like FTL. I mean, it's easier to invade a star system, you know? Like, it's also more prestigious to invade a star system. Oh, yes, my military is so strong they can invade and seize a star system, I mean, let's already down the rambling street, so, like, this battle, this war that's going on in this one little Terran nation between those. Well, let's check the map. I mean, there's 5 nations on the planet. What's in the system? Yep, colonies, 5 nations. We've worked on this for a while, but the system that all this is in. It's a long way away. The problem I would face, I was gonna look. I suppose that's a side tangent to the tangent I didn't even say. I could theoretically succeed an invasion here. They don't got to have Dyson Swarm. I could succeed an invasion here. No, I can't really succeed an invasion here. Supply lines. There's a reason FTL lanes are a thing. I happen to be a significant portion of the galaxy away, you know? A significant portion of the galaxy. In fact, yeah, well, East 40, right? So, here, this is where All this is. This is where I am. I am 51 sectors away. 51 sectors. Also known as approximately 7,650 light years. Also known as, not even taking into account the fact that FTL lanes aren't necessarily a straight line from point A to point B, not taking that into account, that is a year. That's a year away, basically. It would take my fleet, well, not taking into account FTL engines, it would take Imperial engines, that is. Of course, taking into account FTL engines, just not Imperial ones, which have higher speed rating. But your average FTL engine would take 318 days, 0.75 days to get from my nation to there, not assuming weather, not assuming the fact that FTL lanes aren't straight. 318 days. You'd have to send a fleet and supply them the entire way there and keep sending forces. You'd have to send out a constant stream of forces, technically speaking, because, you know, it would take them time to get there. Or a very strong invasion force. Self-sufficient to a degree, but like there's no guarantee. And how you're gonna get forces there, and it's, you get my point. Like technically, yes, my armies could be their armies. My ships are better than their ships. My military is better than their military. I have more people than them, probably. But I can't invade there. Too far. Too long. No supply. These are all the problems we face. Which is why I'm not necessarily... That's why... the Dyson Swarm. The Dyson Swarm. To get to the Dyson Swarm, my fleet needs to head down to here. 46 sectors, so a bit less than almost a year, and then we can use the ancient FTL gate to basically jump from there over to here. So instant from there, we're not traveling all 413 from there to there, but still 40 something. So it's not ideal. Fleet stuck there with whatever they have, which isn't working out because it's a Dyson Swarm. But that's space logistics for you. Why don't you just not travel using the lanes? Because traveling in lanes is safe. Basically, we've been over FTL before. There's a 15% failure rate for not using a lane for standard subspace, slipspace, hyperspace. 15% failure rate. And then even then, I mean, it's a bit less, but basically over 1%, 1 out of every 100, over that, over 1% of your ships that you send anywhere are just going to die. Not even have an effect happen to them. 1 in 15 is going to have an effect. Not 1 in 15. 15 out of 100 are going to have an effect happen to them. And 1 out of 100 of them are just going to simply explode. Lost to FTL. And that's per day. That's per day. It's 300 and some odd days. 320, we'll round up. 320 days. And that is about, given the various effects, we can probably say about 2. 2 out of 100 ships lost 320 times. So 640 ships lost. You see the problem there? Traveling long distance without an FTL lane, it doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out. And that's assuming daily. That's assuming daily losses. If the weather's not ideal, that becomes hourly losses. Hourly. So, you know, like the chance of your entire fleet simply not making it to the destination because you didn't choose to use an FTL lane is a thing that can happen, which is why we use FTL lanes. Technically, even jump drives use lanes, if you want to be like technical. Because while they travel, while they teleport, they don't actually technically teleport, they technically move through jump space, which is very much like slip space, hyperspace, subspace, except you travel through it a lot faster. Less than a second. But it still is an area of space that is subject to FTL variance. Now, what about warp? What about warp? Warp is technically the safest with only a, I believe, 10% loss rate. But FTL weather does affect your warp bubble. Therefore, you can in fact explode. And funnily enough, loss to FTL when in a warp bubble usually just means you die. The bubble collapses in on itself and you die. It's not ideal. So there's no easy way of traveling without a lane. Well, gates. Gates have a 5% failure rate. Now, mind you, all these failure rates are absolutely negated if you have an FTL lane. So, perfectly safe with a lane. Assuming the weather's fine. Assuming the weather's fine. Weather does still have a significant effect on all of it, because weather can deteriorate FTL lanes, making it dangerous. I say deteriorate, but they usually come back. Anyway, it's all a thing. It's a thing. We've already had an episode on FTL. Anyway, yeah. Um, but that's the short of that, I suppose. 1 second. Okay. So, yeah, no, that's the short of that. Hmm. Let's see. Um, let's do some easy world building. I mean, I'm torn, I'll be honest. And by that, let me explain. The other day, and I mean just the other day, I believe it was yesterday, I thought, oh, hey, I want to work on this map. This map, yes, I want to work on it. Then I thought, I should wait for World Building Wednesday. And then today, World Building Wednesday, I want to work on it, but I think, hey, placing the squares on the map is boring. Nobody wants to see squares getting placed on a map. But then I think, well, I will think, hey, I want to work on this, but I'll save this for World Building Wednesday. But then I'll think, hey, placing the squares on the map is boring. You see the problem here? Hopefully you see the problem there. Okay. So, let's write some description. Descriptions are fun. At least I find them fun. Hmm. I also didn't do a good job of placing the locations. I should have noted down the coordinates of every one of the systems I placed it, I'll be honest. Should have noted that down. I suppose it's going to be a bit boring, but we should do that. 2-7. Well, nope, nope. 8. 8-6 8627. 8627. 8627. 8627. Let's double check. I want to make sure I'm just doing this properly. Yep. Okay. Black hole, 11.3. That one's 8611.3. This one is 8615. Nope, 715. 86715. Okay, very good. And paste that there. Ooh. This is why we have the little squares. I did not see that magnetar. 6, 4, 6, 4. And one little more bit of work on that. And there we go. So now they are labeled with their location. Ooh. Let's actually do a little bit more work. We'll note that that one's a black hole. And we'll put, for now, I kind of want to put 2 objects in orbit. Why not? Don't know what they are yet. Okay. I suppose since we've started, we might as well finish this process. Three, 2. Oh, oh. 9, 6. 3, 2. 9, 6. Same distance down, one more right. 9, 6. 3, 2. It's still sector east 40, of course. Okay. And this one is 2, 6. 2, 6. 9, 6, 2, 6. There we are. The ones that now theoretically, if we just click them and the information pops up. Very good. Ideal, even. Okay. Hmm. It is a bit early, but I think we'll call it there. I think we shall call it there. Next stream will probably be Solo Friday, in which we actually roll the dice and get stuff done with adventure, ideally. Solo tabletop RPG adventure on Friday. Yes. And so, yeah, that's the plan. Maybe on a Saturday. We'll do something on Tuesday, hopefully. Then back with more World Building Wednesday. Hopefully, we'll get more done and go for longer next World Building Wednesday. Anyway, as always, I've been your host, Casimir Basilius, and I hope that yes, you have a wonderful day. And thank you for stopping by.